Hey, and welcome back to the channel. We are on week 2 of our 7 weeks of inspiration. Last week you got to meet season 6 winner Megan, and this week we have someone who was in season 6 with Megan. He is hilarious. He is a world traveler, he's a father, he's a husband, and he is an inspiration. And tonight you are going to be so blessed by what he has to share. And without further ado, let me welcome Mr. Dan the Man to the channel.
Thanks, Carmen. How you doing?
I am so glad to have you on here tonight. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Beautiful day. Frost in Florida. Terrible.
Yeah, Florida has had some cold weather this year, huh?
Yeah. I'm ready for spring.
Yeah. Aren't you glad you get to be a part of history?
Oh yeah.
I know Georgia too. They're like, it's like the coldest it's ever been. I'm like, great, great. Glad it waited for me.
They're lucky they're
So
calling iguanas.
right. So Dan, you 16 weeks ago, you weighed in at 258.6 pounds.
Yes.
And this morning you stepped on the scale and weighed in at 202.2.
It was amazing. It was like, yes.
So that is 16 weeks, 56.4 pounds. You are like this close to Wonderland.
I know.
Okay. So prior to 16 weeks ago, we had never met. Like I didn't know you existed. You didn't know I existed. You heard about the program through.
I heard about the program through season 5 contestant, Jerry.
Yeah.
So Jerry and I are mutual acquaintances, and I saw his transformation on Facebook, and I reached out to him, and he's like, "Man, she's booking right now for the current season. You better apply like any minute. It's gonna be." And I'm like, I applied, and I was like praying. I even said to my wife, I'm like, I just said I need this, like mentally, physically, spiritually, everything. I felt defeated, and holy cow, like it just changed everything.
And so in 16 weeks, I mean, I just need to repeat this again because it's repeat worthy. 56.4 pounds in 16 weeks, like knocking on Wonderland's door. So, Dan, like when you hear me say that, what goes through your brain? What actually is there a part of your brain that goes,
Yeah, there's two parts of my brain. The first part, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, was is this enough, right? Like, because I haven't been this low in 15, 17, maybe my wedding, maybe? But I just don't know. So that was my first, and because you have that doubt every now and again, right? But no, honestly, like, I can't wait to hit my goal. And it's like I'm going to hit my goal by May, and I'm going to hit my goal by May, and I'm going to hit my goal by May. So, and this just like boom, I'm on track. I'm exceeding expectations. So yeah.
so not knowing this crazy lady from Georgia who's on YouTube, we had never met.
No.
What, when you signed up and you got that video with this woman saying it's my way or the highway, it's extreme accountability, you better do this. What was your first, like, in your brain? Was there any part of you that were like, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah, I had two things I was getting that were my number one concerns. I don't remember if you asked, like, my first question I asked of you when we had the group together. What is your definition of success, right? Because you guaranteed 100% success rate, and I'm in sales, and I'm like 100% success rate. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
But and you clarified it, and your goal of 2 pounds per week is 100% success rate, and that's what's achieved. And boom, and everyone on my team, I believe, is exceeding that. So that was my number one question. And then honestly, I need the kick in the butt. I was joking with my wife even well before I met you. I'm like, man, if I win the lottery, I'm going to hire a Marine or someone who live in my house and kick my butt and won't let me in the pantry and won't let me make me do things. And then, yeah.
A Marine.
Where's my Marine?
Dropping him in 20. So, okay. So for people watching, like I know you're a dude and people say, oh, dudes lose weight faster than girls, whatever. But 56.4 pounds, that's no joke.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, have you done anything? Because I know people always wonder, have you done anything extreme? Are you working out 5 hours a day? Are you cutting out all like carbohydrates and,
No. No, I follow a container system. So I am having my portion control container system. I'm having my fruits. I'm having my vegetables. I'm having my carbohydrates.
you're eating carbs?
I'm having carbs. I'm having carbs. I'm just probably having smarter carbs, right? So my carbs aren't chips. My carbs are quinoa and my carbs are, sweet potatoes. So I'm having good carbs. And I'm having my proteins and I'm having salmon and I'm having grouper and I'm having chicken. And every now and again, yeah, I have a red meat. I know, but the point is, but it's the right portion.
That's right. Well, it teaches you portions, right? Because when we get overweight, our portions are like fluffy portions.
Wow.
They're overweight portions. They're, I remember the first time I ever cut a brownie into what the box said a portion was. And it was like a little bit bigger than a quarter. And I thought, what? Like, who eats that? Nobody eats one serving of a brownie.
No. And then you ask about my exercise. I gotta tell you, especially when I first started the program, I was lucky I could get 30 minutes in, right? Not only from my like being able to physically, but time at work, time with my kids, trying to make that time for myself. And we talked about this. I have not made time for myself or taking care of myself in years. So mentally changing that mindset, like I'm worthy of the time, I'm worthy of having that 30 minutes. So that first month, 6 weeks, I would do 30 minutes tops. And then I would do like 30 minutes and a walk and now I do an hour a day.
So, because people don't know your crazy schedule. And the truth is, one of the things that really impresses me about you, Dan, is there's so many people in your boat, in your circumstance, that would make an excuse that they couldn't make themselves a priority because you don't work a regular 9 to 5. Like, explain to them what you do and how it works.
So I'm in the medical device world. I am a nurse, but I'm in the medical device industry, and I do travel a ton. And I travel to hospitals to educate physicians on staff on how to do medical procedures. So I'm at the beck and call of the hospitals. And then I also travel and do national training programs for our staff and physicians. So I'm on the road a fair amount and I fly. And when I fly and I'm in our headquarters location, I'm 16-hour days. So, yeah. And then prior to this program, I was averaging 3,000 miles a month in my car, work mileage, not fun mileage. So yeah, I had a sedentary lifestyle, and so what did I do at the airport? Oh man, I hit the bar because I'm sitting there and had a beverage, and I had food and comfort food, and eat all hours of the day at night, and then entertaining, going out with colleagues when I'm traveling, and a lot of meals, and yeah.
And I remember your first week in the program, and we're in a video chat group, and he sent us all a video, and he was there, and there was the guy, one of his coworkers was literally getting like margarita, like a margarita and chips in the tableside guacamole, and there was Dan with his water, and he's like, I just want y'all to see.
That was my first week, and I'm like, what the heck am I doing? I was in San Jose, California, and so my time difference is all out of whack. I'm an East Coast guy, and then tableside guacamole, fresh homemade margaritas, and I'm just like, what am I doing? So yeah, I haven't had a margarita or anything since September.
You're amazing. And so, okay, has losing the weight, not even the program, but has been losing the weight easier than you thought or harder than you thought it was going to be?
I'm going to say it depends on the week, right? So, but when I look at the big picture of this 56 pounds, and I say this, it took me 22 years to get as big as I did. And it has taken me 16 weeks, so 4 months to lose a good chunk of it.
Yeah.
So when I look at it that way, in the grand scheme of life, this is a small chapter, right? This is small. We can do this. I mean, that being said, some weeks I'm like, this is the easiest burger in the world. And some weeks I'm like, oh my gosh. And I think it's really about what's going on outside of it, right? And then how my relationship with food and still battling the mindset of that. Whereas like I'm not a smoker, so I don't care about that. I did drink, but it wasn't like, so I'm like, and I always say the line, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, but man, food made me happy and it gave me comfort. So how do I change that mindset? So every now and again, that's what I battle with. But no, it's a lot easier than I thought it would, and I never in my life thought I'd be down to 202.2 again.
I remember you saying on one of our first meetings that your kids are very active. They do sports. Your one son does jujitsu, and he had asked you to do it with him.
And I couldn't do it. I mean, I didn't want to do it. I was scared to do it. I suffer from plantar fascia, and at Carmen, you know, like they're on the mats in bare feet, and you can go in bare feet with plantar fascia. And then, so I have plantar fasciitis, and then I was looking for every excuse, and then just honestly, like I have terrible knees anyway from previous injuries, and I have herniated discs in my back, and I broke my back 2 summers ago, and you know, on a bike accident, and no, so I was scared. My goal was to get there, whether or not, but my goal was to show my son that I can do it. So, and he just moved up to the adult class, so it'll be perfect when it segues for him and I to do it together.
He did. How old is he?
He's 12.
He's 12. Okay.
And so they pull up some like 12 to 14-year-olds. They're still in the youth belts.
Yeah.
That are really taking it seriously and moving on, and you know. So yeah, and it's great because now he's going with brown belts, and now he's going with purple belts and they help him out so much. And he's going against guys that weigh 250 or 230 or, you know, men.
And so one of your goals when you first started was at 6 months when the whole program was done, that you were going to do what?
I am going to take jujitsu classes with my son, and I'm going to get there. I will be there May.
So freaking incredible. So what are your, like, because your wife, who is beautiful and amazingly supportive, and your boy, what have they said? What has been their reaction to watching you like shrink down this fast?
So I gotta first say, you know, what has made this incredibly easier is the support of my wife. You know, it's not like I'm being healthy and she's eating, you know, chips and Doritos next door to me in front of my face. And so she's been wonderful. And even though she's not been on this program, she's been going along the journey with me. And she herself has lost 24, 25 pounds. And I mean, she's 5'8", and she probably doesn't look like this, like 160-ish. Now she's 140-ish. So we've been doing this together. She's always been an exerciser, but so I always have her support and her buy-in, which is amazing. She now gives me the time to make sure I don't have interruptions to exercise, and I give her the same time for herself. And then more importantly, there was one thing, she sent a video, and I think I sent it on the group, but she sent a picture like when I got to 30 pounds. And I was away traveling, and she picked up a bag of dog food. And she had the boys pick up a bag of dog food, and this is how much weight your dad lost. And hearing my 12-year-old say every day when he sees me working out, which I think is so valuable, having your kids seeing me working out. Yeah. And every day he tells me about you. So that's awesome. My 9-year-old, sometimes he says it, but only when he hears my 12-year-old, you know, he's lost in his own self.
Right?
But it's cool because like today, so every day my 9-year-old does 70 push-ups, sit-ups, and squats a day, and my 12-year-old does 8, or he's up to 90 maybe a day. And so I can now do sit-ups with him where I was like, how many can we get in a minute? You know, so I got like 30 in a minute, which come on, I could never do that. And he was doing it right there with me. So my 9-year-old and I were like,
Isn't that crazy to think? Because 16 weeks ago, you wouldn't have been doing that.
No, I was lucky if I could do a crunch, or I'd be like, oh, let me elevate my legs and work my lower abs.
Exactly. Do you ever look in the mirror? Because it's happened so fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you see yourself every day. But are you ever surprised, like things that you would normally not be able to do that you can do now? Or even when you see yourself in a mirror or you get on an airplane, like, is
Yeah.
it so surprising to you, like this new Dan?
Yeah, so let me first on the airplane. I even thought this, what day was it? I'm sorry, Thursday night when I was flying back. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all the belt I have left for my seatbelt, right? Because before, depending on the airline, because all seatbelts are not the same on the airlines, but I'm like, some of them I were almost max, and some of them I'm like, wow, but I'm like, I have you know,
A
so that's
tail.
awesome. And then, you know, now, so that was like amazing. And then the second thing is like, what I can do more. I noticed it. Really, the first time I noticed it was my little son's flag football practice. And it used to be he's a good wide receiver and a good quarterback. And he used to be I'll QB and I'll throw him routes. And this time I was a wide receiver. Now was I as fast as him? Absolutely not. But was I running post routes and skinny posts, ins and outs? Yeah. Jogging, sure, but yes. But that was cool because I haven't done that in years with them.
Well, and there's a difference between being like an on the like a sideline parent and an
Mm-hmm.
in the game parent.
Yeah.
You know, a parent, because as you've always probably been encouraging and supportive and all of that, but it's completely different when you can do it with them. And it's not show me, no, let me show you. Like, let's go. You can rough and tough and tumble and roll and run the routes and
Yeah, I mean that was cool. And I've always coached my kids in baseball and whatnot until my job changed and I'm traveling more. But now, like for instance, when he's pitching, I mean I can squat behind that catcher's for a long time now with all the squats we're doing. You know, so that 100-day obsession, there's a lot of squats.
uh-huh. Yes, you get strong. And being overweight, let's just be really honest. Us fluffy people, the one thing we do get is strong legs because
Yeah,
we are carrying around that weight for how long?
I mean,
And, you
yeah.
know,
So it's cool. And I got to tell you, like the thing that was shocking was the amount of flexibility that's come back.
oh yeah.
And I never realized that. Like I was doing exercise. I actually called my wife into the room today after 80-day obsession, and I was like doing a pose I don't think I could ever do in my entire life. So it's cool.
It really is. Have you taken any photos yet? Like you get the timer set and you take a photo just because you're like you want to capture the moment, right?
I
It's
should do. I've never done that when I'm working out. I never have. But what was eye-opening to me was the first time in the first 5 or 6 weeks because I didn't send in my photos and it wasn't intentional. Like we talked about that. Oops. But that was so cool seeing like week 1 to week 6 or 7. I'm like, holy cow.
yeah.
And now I do that side by side. And the my mentee that started, and she had a hard time with, sending her photos to you. So I immediately went in there and I sent her my before and I sent her this week's photo and I put them side by side. Give her, it's okay. We're gonna get there.
That's
So,
amazing. Yeah, because as you guys go through a season, and then after 12 weeks, you become mentors, which adds a whole nother level of accountability
and I love it.
to it.
Yeah.
How's your work? You have a work family that doesn't see you because you will be in one clinic and then you might not be there for a while. How have they reacted?
They, for the most part, positive. I mean, they've been like, "Wow, holy moly!" And honestly, I have talks with them. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not, I'm at dinner with you guys, but it doesn't seem like. I mean, it is still hard. I don't want to say that. Like, you're sitting at a table and they're having steaks, and there is part of you that says, "Oh, can I just go?" And no, it's the discipline, right?
Yeah.
It's not a scheduled cheat. It's not time to do that. But I have that conversation with them often, and they're very supportive. But the comments I get are common comments, and we've talked about what's your goal weight? Like, how much longer are you doing this? Like, ooh, are you worried you're going to look funny? Are you going to look worried you're going to have like a chick? I'm like, I hope I have a chicken neck. And then, I mean, let's be honest, I know how to put on weight. So if I don't like, no, but my point being is, I think it's the shock is when I tell them, my goal is, and I'm saying it right here, my goal is 175. So, my goal, I have, 27 roughly more pounds. So, and if I'm happy with that, great. And if I'm not, we'll adjust and I'll work with my coach, Carmen, and change it. Maybe it's more muscle and less fat, but that's my goal right now.
That's
And
amazing.
for the most part, but when they see me, they're like, holy cow, every time. So that's always rewarding because sometimes I don't see it for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what has surprised you the most about the past 16 weeks? Like what surprised you the most?
I'm going to talk about the positive and the negative, right? Because I want to be real here. The thing that has is how I've been able to inspire others without realizing it.
Yeah.
So like my parents talked to me, and my dad started to become a little bit more active in taking some steps. So that's really cool. And he lives in other states, but he knows my journey and they ask me about it. So that's awesome. The support of this team is amazing. And having an accountability group, not just Carmen, but the whole group, I don't think without them I wouldn't be as successful as I am, for sure. I know that because, when you tried things earlier, I failed, right? I failed every time. What's still challenging though, and what surprises me is still the battle of the mindset.
Yeah.
Having to remind myself, we talk about the gray area, but don't grab something off my kid's plate, like, a half a chicken tender or nugget or whatever, or, and that relationship with food, it's still battling. But again, I had it for like probably longer, 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm on, 2 months trying to recalibrate it.
Yeah.
So, and then the other pleasant surprise is when we have our scheduled cheats and I have something, I'm like,
It's just okay.
Yeah.
And that sucks, doesn't it? Like you want it to be so good. Yeah.
Cheats.
I know. There's nothing worse than eating and being like, that wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
But it is, I don't think when we're fluffy, we realize that our taste buds do start to change. They do. We stop craving the same things. And it doesn't mean we never want French fries or a burger or pizza again, or you'll never have a margarita or tableside guac again. But it doesn't consume your thoughts or your life like it once did.
No, it used to be like, oh, we're going to this restaurant, and I'd be on my phone trying to figure out what I'm going to get well ahead of time because I'm so excited, And now I'm like, if I go on my phone because we're going somewhere for a work dinner, I'm like, let me check out their side salad options and seeing if I have to bring my own dressing. You know what I mean? Like that's now. So it's a different mindset completely. Like, ooh, before I'm going to get this loaded baked potato and, whatever. But now I'm like...
And it's so true that when we're fluffy, we so often we live to eat.
Yeah.
Versus eating to live.
Yeah.
There's so much more to life than just the next best meal. And don't get me wrong, like I'm a fan of good meals. Like I'm not a fan of water and lemons, but eating, there's a whole bigger life out there besides food. So Dan, what's next? What's on the horizon coming up for you in the next 3-6 months?
A lot of exciting things. Some I can't discuss. But here's what, honestly, when I talk about my personal growth, that's what's next for my next 6 months. So continuing to focus on me so I can focus on my family and be a better father, a better husband, a better partner, and continuing that and having the support of my amazing wife and my great kids for that, and other family members and friends. So number one, that's going to be continued. Number two, I cannot wait to learn how to, once I hit my goal weight, transition to be able to have, to Carmen, to your point, tableside guacamole, to not fall off the wagon, to how to have, birthday pad thai or birthday nachos, but not fall off the wagon. So that's the part I'm really excited for the next few months. And then more importantly, even after that, I'm really excited to send you guys videos when I'm on the mat or have someone take pictures. And I'm excited. So,
now, are you going to do jiu-jitsu as a hobby or are you going to compete too?
A hobby.
Okay.
And then honestly, I look at it and it's no excuses, but when I look at my work schedule and travel schedule, I have to fit, like, when I'm gone several weeks a month, how much can I really,
Yeah. No, no, and that's, you got to be wise, right? You don't want to set yourself up to be disappointed and all of that. So my last question is, there are people watching that have just watched you talk. They've heard your struggles. They've heard what you've done. They hear that number, 56.4 pounds in 16 weeks. And they're still thinking, yeah, but that's Dan. Dan's special. He's motivated. He's this, he's that. And they're in their brain separating why you can do it and why they can't. What would you say to that person?
I would say if you have an opportunity while you still have the physical health and mental health, you need to make this change. I found when I was having those doubts about other programs I've done, where I'm like, I can't do it or I can't do it. Listen to those words. I can't, I can't, I can't. And when we incorporate that in our daily language, you're putting those vibes out there in the universe. So I can do it. And what does success look like for you? Success may not be 56 pounds.
Yeah.
Success might be, I want to drop a few sizes. I want to feel more comfortable. And what I've learned through all this, right? If I drop 75 pounds, but I am not content here, it doesn't matter what I look like or what I feel like. So really do what you need to do to get right with yourself and your mindset. And I think that will make it easier.
Yeah. And I love that you said that because, we call it the biggest transformation, not the biggest loser, because it's not about the most amount of weight lost. Because if I can help anybody lose weight, but if you don't change this, if you don't transform on the inside, the outside transformation will never last. And so it's truly transforming the way you think, which will automatically transform the way you act, and it'll transform your body in every area of your life. And I know you've got some really exciting things happening that you can't tell us about yet. But I'm excited to see you hit your goal, to see all the people that are going to be inspired by this video, by what you've done, the hard work you've put in. And so, Dan, thank you so much for taking time out of one of your days home to be on the channel tonight and inspire everybody who's watching.
I love it. I hope I inspired someone like Jerry inspired me, and then my castmates and teammates inspire me every day. So, and obviously Carmen, but my team's awesome. So.
They are awesome. Yeah. And they think you're awesome. All right, guys, thank you for watching. We will be back next week, same time, same place, right here on the channel. It'll be week 3 of our 7 weeks of inspiration. So if you have not hit the subscribe button yet, make sure to do that. Ring the notification bell. I'm telling you, these stories are powerful. And if you constantly are feeding yourself with stories like Dan's, their belief starts to rub off on you. And you go from thinking, no, he's just special, to thinking, no, maybe if he did it, then so can I. And so thank you for watching from Dan and I.
Thank you.